everyone, and welcome to another Helm to Tower video. This is going to be another video in our series of intro videos to Destiny 2, teaching you all about the various mechanics and things going on in the world of Destiny 2. So if you're a new player or a somewhat lapsed player, having not played for many years in Destiny 2, these videos are pretty much just for you. Today we're going to be going over a specific thing that they've kind of introduced now with all of the seasonal content that they've done since I think they started back with Shadowkeep. So it has been something that's going on for a while, but I think it's still something that some players don't fully wrap their heads around, which are artifact mods. And these specifically come from this artifact that you get each season. As you can see here, this is the Synaptic Spear. It expires at the end of Season 16 because it is the seasonal artifact, and these artifacts change every season, and with them, you get these sets of mods. There's 25 mods, just starting now in Season 16. You can now unlock all of them completely. Before, you were only able to unlock like a select few. You'd basically have to reset the artifact to just get all the mods. It was kind of annoying. Admittedly, but they finally changed that, and now you can just unlock them all. And as you can see here, I have already unlocked them all. I'm at about rank 178. I think I had all of them unlocked by like rank 140-ish. Because as you get that seasonal rank, you're accruing XP to level up this artifact, which then lets you unlock all these different mods, as well as gives you a power bonus of plus 18, so that can help you out with your level grind as well. For some activities, it doesn't. This artifact level does not count for all activities, but it definitely can help you speed up some of that process a little bit. But yeah, these are a set of unique 25 mostly unique mods that are just available for this season, and they slot in all kinds of things. You can see this last slot are all class item mods, and all of these first slots are arm mods, and then the other ones and these other various ones can be kind of anywhere. Like this is arms, this is a class item mod, as well as this one. These are elemental well mods, so they can kind of slot anywhere. So they're mods that are just kind of supplemental, and usually are very potent if you know how to build them up. In particular, these last set of mods are usually the most powerful and give you the most benefit in your abilities, and all the things that are kind of available for that season. Like Bungie developers, they definitely like to kind of have, like, at least for these past couple seasons in most recent history, they kind of had the season of the fusion rifle, and that kind of was because of a mod that was here in this last slot that made fusion rifles just do an insane amount of damage compared to what they do without those mods. So seasonal mods usually try and, like, they can define the meta for that season in terms of like what you're using in endgame content or what you're using in Crucible. Like, they can impact a lot of gameplay aspects for sure. But yeah, these ones in particular, because this season we got a new update to the Void subclass for all the characters. It was named Void 3.0. A lot of these are tied around that. Like, you can suppress targets, and like these two mods in particular increase the damage that you'll do to a suppressed target and things like that. Volatile Flow, when you pick up a Void Elemental Well, you get volatile rounds, which basically applies a volatile Void Explosion onto an enemy, so you're just doing Void Explosions for days with this mod. It's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend this one if you're into that kind of stuff. Devouring Depths is when you get Devour, which is mainly on a Warlock class. That's like the easiest way to get Devour is on Warlock class. It'll make your super do more damage while you have a Void or Devour on. So that means you can use that for DPS phases. It's pretty great. A favorite of mine as well in these laters is Lucian Finisher. As you can see, when you defeat a Hive Lightbearer from the Witch Queen campaign or various Witch Queen endgame activities, and also champions, you use a finisher on them that'll spawn a heavy ammo brick for you and your allies. So it's very useful for endgame content when you always need to have that uptime on your heavy weapon ammo for damage against bosses and other things like that. So this is a great mod for that I like using a lot. Another major aspect, if you're not familiar with kind of endgame Destiny content, are champions. And you can see here this kind of first row of mods are all dedicated to champion mods, are anti-champion like weaponry. When you put these mods on, you can see aiming down a pulse rifle sights, loads a high impact burst that stuns unshielded combatants. So that's for unstoppable pulse rifle, which is used against unstoppable champion mods. There's various kinds of unstoppable champions. If you've never really seen them in the game before, they're mostly all in end game activities. So if you go into Nightfall Strikes, you go into after you completed the Witch Queen campaign, if you're playing through the Witch Queen, you unlock weekly story missions, and those have champions in them as well. And there's also things like Dares of Eternity and like various seasonal activities. They usually add champions into those seasonal activities as well. So this season 16, we have PsyOps Battlegrounds. That's the current new seasonal activity, and those do have assortments of champions in them to fight. And these mods will just help you out having a better time fighting those, because if you don't have an unstoppable mod on any of your weapons or any kind of unstoppable weapon, then they are extremely tanky enemies, and stunning them turns off that kind of extreme damage resistance they have, so you can damage them down and defeat them way easier. And that pretty much applies to most of these. So you have anti-barrier bow is one of the mods that's seasoned. So basically a barrier champion. After you do a little bit of damage to them, they'll you just see in the gameplay here, they put up a barrier, and if you don't have an anti-champion or an anti-barrier mod on, you're just not going to be able to do anything to that champion, and they're going to restore their health, and it's just going to be a bad time, and you could be stuck there fighting this champion unless you just throw on this mod and throw on a bow you like, and just take that anti-barrier champion down much more quickly. Anti-barrier scout rifle is also there if you prefer like using a scout rifle to a bow, but ultimately it's just, this applies to any scout rifle. So you can have like a primary scout rifle like a Night Watch, or like from Gambit there's Servant Leader, which is another great scout rifle in your primary slot, and then there's tons of other scout rifles throughout the game that you can acquire to help you combat those champions in particular for this season. Overload champions are, in my personal opinion, the worst kind of champions to fight. I think that's definitely a sentiment in a lot of the Destiny 2 community. Our overload champions are for lack of a better term, just freaking suck. They're really bad. They can be really annoying to fight because they are like particular enemies like on crack basically, and they just like spam the abilities they use until you stun them. So like you'll have overload fallen captains who are just warping and teleporting everywhere as fast as they can, and you're just chasing them all over an arena while they're just melting you down, and it can be really frustrating to fight those things. That's why overload rounds for SMGs and auto rifles is definitely a useful mod to have, and it's pretty low cost, so you can kind of use it and not use up any other ones. As you can see later in this track, there are more anti-champion stuff. So you can see here's overload grenades. So if you have a void grenade, you can throw your grenade onto that enemy and it'll stun that overload champion. It's going to be pretty useful. Like if you're on a void subclass and you use a void vortex grenade, those are pretty strong against those, because it's a big area of an effect grenade, and you can just throw it on them and they get caught in the field and it stuns them. It's really nice. There's also Unstoppable Glaive this season. They just introduced Glaives with the Witch Queen, and they're pretty fun. And I like the Unstoppable Glaive in particular because with normal weapons, like we have Unstoppable Hand Cannon and Unstoppable Pulse Rifle, you can see it says aiming down sights. So you have to kind of aim down sights for like a few seconds. You'll see this kind of like red pulse kind of go across your gun, and you'll see in your little feed, you'll have Unstoppable Shot. That's how you kind of proc Unstoppable on various weapons. But with the glaive, you just have it by default. The way you stun them is you have to shoot the energy blast out of a glaive, and that is a guaranteed stun from that shot. Anytime, you don't have to aim down sights or put up your shield or like melee them, run up and melee them. You can just shoot that shot from a distance and stun them right there. So it's pretty useful in that regard. And then of course you can pair it with other things like here's suppressing glaive. And you can pair those two together to stun and then suppress an enemy, and then you can put these other potential suppressing mods on as well to have much greater effect when using a glaive. So that should be a lot of fun in some of those in-game activities potentially. But glaives definitely don't have as much range as some of this other stuff, so Unstoppable Pulse Rifle is definitely something I've been using a lot in my personal gameplay of fighting champions and endgame activities. It's definitely been Unstoppable Pulse for this season. Anti-barrier bow is great, especially if you have some of the exotic bows that are available, like TQ's Divination or La Monarch. That's really great on those in particular because they apply like various status effects and damage over time effects, and those stack with this anti-bow mod. You can put that poison from the Monarch on a barrier enemy before they put up their shield, and when they start putting their shield, and immediately start breaking it right away, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so these are kind of your general artifact mods here. These are again only available kind of for this remaining season. I think this season 16 goes to May 24th, the end of May. So these will still be around for a while, so you have time to unlock these and kind of mess around with them. But if you want to kind of up your game in the end game activities, I definitely recommend start unlocking these later mods in like these kind of later two selection lines of mods here, and that'll definitely fit those into Void builds for Void 3.0, and you'll have a lot of fun stuff to work with. I'll definitely be going more in depth with some actual proper build videos in the future, like some Void Hunter builds I've been messing with, some Titan Void builds as well, and all kinds of stuff. And also, have champion mods ready and on deck on in your slot in your armor mod slots, because champions are just going to be always a thing in Destiny. I know some people personally don't like champions and kind of being stuck with these particular weapons and particular activities, and would prefer to use like a weapon they are more comfortable with. But that's just it is what it is, and it's only a specific. Again, it's only comes with like stuff like Nightfalls, and that with those weekly missions where those can really matter. Taking out champions in particular, in those specific activities, Nightfalls and weekly missions, you are getting platinum and like end of kind of activity rankings and those apply to the amount of champions you've defeated. So if you get a platinum ranking, that means you've defeated all the champions in that run of that activity, and that will give you much better chances at rewards that are available in those activities. So things like, if you get a platinum in the weekly story mission, you have a much higher chance of getting those ascendant alloys for crafting, or if you're in Nightfalls, you get better chances at and in some cases guaranteed chances, like in the higher tier like Master and Grandmaster Nightfalls. If you get platinum rank, you're guaranteeing yourselves like exotic armor, adept versions of the Nightfall weapons for that week, ascendant shards, and prisms, which are used to upgrade your armor so they can hold more mods, and you can have more build variety in your builds and have more mods slotted into all of your different armor pieces. It's definitely beneficial to be using these anti-champion mods, and I definitely recommend, even if you're going in on hero and matchmaking with two random people. I've had countless times where I've personally gone into those, and it's clear no one on the other part of the team is not using champion mods. They're just trying to get this thing done. And while you can, hey, just even just throwing on one of these mods to help out your team, like stun a champion, can make that whole experience much smoother and much faster. Because people, I think the idea is people are just getting in there to get it done as quickly as possible. Where in most cases, having these champion mods on are going to make it a faster and smoother experience instead of ignoring it. So that's just a word from a long time experienced player who's been frustrated sometimes by players not using these mods, or maybe just not knowing what they're here, or how to use them properly. So again, anti-champion mods are your friends in endgame activities, and if you want to get even deeper into cool build crafting and making cool builds, you definitely want to check out these mods in these later artifact unlocks.